All right, today we're going to be working on some CANBUS wiring. I made a mistake and cut some wires as I was thinning the harness, and it ended communication with the rear control unit. So we're gonna go and try and reinstate those wires today. And I'll give you a video. I'll show you here in just a second where I did that, what those look like, and how we're gonna approach that. So it's we're using 22 gauge TXL or TXT wire, and we'll get all that going in just a second. So I had these relocated kind of back behind here. We'll get a better video of that later. But anyway, I had cut some of these wires out, and what I found out was that box was no longer communicating with the system. And so I thought, well, it's probably a good idea to get this going back together. So some of the things we've checked out is we're going to need this to be a twisted pair. So CANBUS wires are all twisted pairs. And I did some measurements on this, and it looks like it's about 0.6 inches between the twists. So we're going to use that. And it also looks like it is twisted in the counterclockwise direction. So when I was kind of taking a look at this, I thought we were going to go clockwise, but we're going to go counterclockwise, and we're going to be using a drill to do that. Okay, so today I've got some black and yellow TXL wire, same color coding as what's in the car. We want to make sure we're consistent here with this, and what we're going to do is hook this up to the vise and take our drill. We're going to counterclockwise it. So first thing we're going to do is stick this into the vise, and then we'll stick it into the drill and start twisting. The measurement that I took, let's see, here was the calipers I was using. So it's actually closer to 0.7 and millimeters, 17.2 millimeters between each twist. All right, we're getting ready to put this into our drill. So we're going to, I've already got it kind of started here. Stick it into the chuck. And we're going to want to give it a good little bit of grip on it because we're going to be going backwards on this thing. Okay, we've got our wire hooked up into our device and into our drill. And we're going to start slowly twisting. All right, we're getting close. Looks pretty good. And yeah. Yep, those look pretty good. Great. One thing just happened. I took the wire out of the vise, and it, of course, coiled up on itself. And that means that not all of the spacing is exactly right anymore. So I'm gonna have to go and kind of rework the wire a little bit to make it so that it's nice and even. And then we're gonna do the heat shrink tube. So I've got, you can see here, got the tube on it. We'll get that dialed in here in just a minute. All right, our wire looks pretty good. The heat shrink seemed to help. It's now not doubling back on itself. So we'll take this and see how we did. All right, so that looks pretty close. So we'll tie it in there and then back up to here. All right, yellow and black, fantastic. Well, I've got my first splice in here done. I'm just letting it cool a little bit. I think maybe I wish I would have spaced it out a little more. having these heat shrink tubes kind of right next to each other messes it up a little bit, but first time doing it. So we'll get these twisted back up once they cool off, and we'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, well, we've got it all back together. So this one, I spaced it out a little bit so we can see here the black wire joined there, yellow wire joined here. It's a little messy, not super excited about it, but I got a wire break, so the distances are just a little teeny bit off. And also this side is all good to go. We got it all kind of tied back up. So we're gonna tie this up and get going. All right, after a bunch of sweating, I've finally got the rear control unit back all wired up. I've got all the wires re-wrapped and zip tied. So we are just about done. Okay. Let's take a look at the car. So now we've got our loom all nice and tied up right there, all the way up there into the little S channel, and kind of in the back you can sort of see where that goes. So that is the rear control unit mounted up in behind the driver instead of on the floor. Steve, my 3D printing man, made this for me last year when I built the car. And so let me come out here and kind of show you from this side so you can get a better perspective. So obviously the back of the car, nice little spot back there for it to mount right on the side of the vehicle. You will need a riv nut or a couple of riv nuts to be able to mount that. We're getting close.